Welcome to another episode of On the Couch with the Ethicalist. Today we're talking cricket, as in the sport. And we have Ben Hardy-Jones with us today, who is the sustainability lead for the Desert Vipers. Welcome to the podcast, Ben.
Thank you for having me. Really excited for this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. And sports and sustainability, not something that we've ever had on the Couch with the Ethicalist before. So really looking forward to hearing your insights.
It's quite a new area, so there's not many teams doing it. So hopefully people can see what it's all about and take action themselves.
Well, absolutely. And this is what we're here for, to discuss today. So first of all, if you wouldn't mind just taking a moment to tell our listeners who you are, a little bit about yourself and what you're doing with the Desert Vipers.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Ben Hardy-Jones, the sustainability lead at Desert Vipers. I am from the UK and now working for the Desert Vipers in Dubai. We are a cricket team and we are entering our third season. So we are pretty much, brand new team, just getting going, and we have centered ourselves around sustainability as a core theme of our franchise. We are owned by Avram Glazer, so we've got a fantastic backing, and we are playing in the DP World ILT20, which is the UAE National League for franchise cricket.
Okay, now I don't know much about sports, but I know Avram Glazer is linked to Manchester United. Is that right?
He's one of the owners of Manchester United, yes. So we've got a connection there. We're entirely independent organisations, but it is a nice link as well.
Okay, all right. So let's go back a little bit. I want to know about you first, and how you started your journey into sustainability, and what has led to you bringing sustainability into sports.
Yeah, I'm quite fortunate in that I've grown up in a place surrounded by nature. So I'm from North Wales in the UK. And if I looked out of my kitchen growing up, I could see the mountain landscape in the background. And I think growing up with that on your doorstep and observing things changing. So in the winter, you'd have the snow on the tops, and then in the summer, you'd have all the heather come out and really quite colourful scenery. And I think just looking at those changes over time got me quite interested in the environment. Programs like Blue Planet 2 and exploration programs I really enjoyed watching. And those kind of things, I think, led me to my degree, where I did geography at Durham University for my undergraduate. 3 years there, and I absolutely loved it. I couldn't imagine doing anything other than the environment, geography, sustainability. And so I went and did 1 year master's course at the University of Oxford in environmental change and management. And that was a fantastic course covering everything sustainability, from human to environment to the physics behind climate change, which was quite technical and really, really interesting. And so that led me into my career. So I'm a very young professional, I'm 24, and I was thinking about how I could make a difference and use what I had learnt in my degree and apply it to the real world. Sports came along as an opportunity through an internship with the Desert Vipers, and I'd originally thought, okay, I can't really see the link, but then I was starting to see it more and more. And the real positive of sport is that it's probably one of 3 activities that can have a cultural impact: sport, music, and theatre/film. So when we're talking about sustainability and the changes that we need to make, sports is a fantastic vehicle for that. So I was thinking, perfect, from my own career perspective of wanting to make a big difference, the biggest possible, sports is an excellent platform to do that. So I joined the Desert Vipers through the internship, and then in April I became the full-time sustainability lead, and I think I'm the only one in world cricket, so it's quite a niche but exciting and growing area.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Especially at such a young age. Well done. That's
Thank you.
Fantastic. You touched upon sport being a vehicle to get a lot of change, inspire a lot of change. Tell us a little bit about that. What is it about sports, for example, that can get you such a wide audience?
Yeah, I think sports is something that everybody enjoys, or the vast majority of people enjoy. Some people are, not interested, but nearly everyone loves sports. And it's a fantastic way to connect with people in a very natural setting. So sports enters all parts of life. It can be in a restaurant, on the TV, it can be in your home, it can be in the venue itself, and it's got these different channels to connect with people. But what is most exciting about sport is the influence. So there's been a study, I can't remember when it was released, but it was by MIT in the US, and they looked at the influence of different groups of people over time. In the 1800s, politicians, kings, queens, the sort of upper elite of society were the biggest influence over ordinary people. Now sport is the biggest influence, and football, cricket, big global sports have such a huge influence over people that they can make a really big difference. And there's sort of two ways to do that. One is by reducing their own impact, what I would call defensive sustainability, looking at how much water, energy, transport you as an organisation do. And the other is connecting with fans, what I would call attacking sustainability. And that's around helping fans in their own lives to make small changes that cumulatively add up.
Absolutely. And I think, you have these huge arenas full of, hundreds of thousands of people. That comes itself with a large carbon footprint, which I will get to in a moment. Yeah. But you have the opportunity where you have, to a certain degree, I know, sports fans are revered, very much looked up to. If they can pass along a message of sustainability to their fans in particular countries, that can really have a far-reaching effect. But what about sports in general with the large carbon footprint that it has? What kind of changes can be brought in to try and reduce that?
There's a lot of changes for sure, and if you're asking fans to make changes in their own lives, you have to lead by example. And there's some things which are difficult to do depending on what organisation you are. So if you are a team, often the rules are dictated by a governing body. So the regulations around what you need to do operationally as a team can be very different to people in other countries, depending on where you are. If you're a governing body, you have more scope to make changes, but then the changes that you make, you have to think about how they would impact the members of your league or of your sport. And so I think the greatest thing sports can do is to spell out its impact, to show what the impact is, because at the moment there's a lot of, I would say, green hushing is one of the terms that you might use, where you potentially promote the positive things that you do, but actually 99% of your impact you're not talking about. And so the best thing sports can do is to be transparent and show the impact. Now in sports, everyone's familiar with the idea of the scoreboard. You look up in cricket and you can see you're on X number of runs and you need to get, more runs to win, and this is what you need to target. In sustainability, that can be the same. You need to show what your impact is, and you need to show where you're going to go to improve that. And so I think it's quite a powerful thing to say to fans, our carbon footprint score is whatever that may be, and here's how we're going to reduce it, and here's how you as a fan can play your part. And then you can openly and transparently say, actually, we're not greenwashing, green hushing, whatever form of greenwashing it may be. You're actually showing the impact and trying to do something about it.
And I think that's, I know that at Desert Vipers you have brought that in and you have shown the carbon footprint of the team, which is a fantastic move and leading by example, I hope, for other teams to follow in your suit. Can you talk me through the logistics of how you did that? How did you find out what your carbon footprint was, and what was it? Yes,
yeah, it actually started before I joined the franchise in May 2023. We formulated and brought everything together and then published that at an event at Lords, the home of cricket. And our footprint for season 1 was 573 tonnes. Now, when I came on board, there were a few areas that we were missing. So we weren't including food, we weren't including different elements of transport. Some of the fan travel calculations had been slightly over or underestimated, depending on what calculation it was. And so what I've done for this year is to go back and update that. So actually our footprint for season 1 is now 913 tonnes. That's going to be released in a report in the next couple of weeks, which is really exciting. So actually this is the first time that I've shared that with anyone. So hopefully
breaking ground over here.
913 tonnes. Now, to put that into perspective, the carbon footprint of one person in the UAE through all their activities in the year is about 25 tonnes. So you're looking at around 40 people for the UAE. So as an organisation, that's kind of where we sit. It's very different depending on what country you are. So a lot of our fans are from India. The typical footprint of someone from India is 2 tonnes per year. So really quite different numbers. But what we've done is say this is our score. Here's the breakdown of the impacts from hotel, stadium, travel, fans, other things as well. And anyone can go and look at that, and we've laid it all out quite transparently.
Fantastic. And thank you for sharing with us your latest figures. So what are you implementing team-wise on a practical basis? How are you going about reducing your carbon footprint? How, by next year, do you want to have minimised that number?
Yes, so that's our season 1 footprint, which is 2022 to 23. Our season 2 footprint, which was the season just gone, 23 to 24, is actually 775 tonnes. So it's a 15% reduction. And that's through a couple of initiatives, but the main one is flying. So as a sports organisation, we have to fly because players are coming from different leagues before, they'll go to a different league after. And so we have calculated our footprint from flying, and we've made changes. So management staff now no longer fly in business class. And that's made a difference because if you're in business, you take a larger area of the plane. So you take a larger share.
Yeah.
And while we're not just looking at taking accountability and, technical questions about how much share you could take, it has an impact because we are customers for airlines. And so as a consumer, you can send a signal to say, actually, we're quite confident and comfortable in having more people per plane, which means you need fewer planes to transport the same number of people. Mm-hmm. And so sports has a huge footprint from flying, but there's ways that you can fly better and differently and show airlines that you can make a change. Now, that one change has reduced our footprint from aviation by 90 tonnes, which is the vast majority of the change of the footprint. A couple of other changes. So last year we eradicated single-use plastic water bottles from our team environment. We became the first cricket team in the world to do that, which was quite an achievement, but also shows how far cricket has to go. If Desert Vipers in their second year can do this, anybody can do this. Mm-hmm. And part of the challenge, which we may talk about later, is about regulators and leagues and the way that the rights are set up. Actually, it favours plastic bottles over refillable ones, which is something to be addressed. But we saved 14,400 bottles, and that also saves on our goods and services that we consume and import, and that lowers our footprint slightly as well. The final thing that we did was our sustainability match. So this was an event held on a Saturday in the Dubai Stadium, which is our home ground, and we essentially dedicated a match to champion sustainability, show fans what we care about as an organisation. We asked everyone to wear green. Our players wore green so that we could show that physical, impact of here's what we're trying to do. And we trialled a few reductions as well. So we lowered the footprint of the match by 1.2 tonnes. Now, the footprint of a match is 23 tonnes. We're one of the first teams in the world to calculate a specific impact of a specific match. And so that's nearly a 5% reduction. And we did that by removing red meat from the menu, beef and lamb, and also things like no plastic giveaway, no plastic packaging and everything like that. So
music to my ears, addressing the meat industry, but that's a topic for another podcast on another day. But yes, the impact of livestock farming is huge, and it's something that's often overlooked. So it brings me great joy to hear that was something that was incorporated into your sustainability strategy, because it makes a big difference, especially
in sports where it also has nutritional benefits. Like, it's not great to eat huge amounts of red meat. So if we can cut down and eradicate it altogether, it has benefits for performance as well.
Absolutely. So this brings me quite nicely into the Plastic Pledge. So the Plastic Pledge is an organisation over here that's been set up by Toby Gregory, who we all know very well for the Arctic Challenge that he's just completed. So can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the Plastic Pledge to eradicate plastic?
Yes. So we have, excuse me,
No problem.
we have partnered with the Plastic Pledge. They are a sustainability impact partner. And that's also something quite unique we've done as an organisation, is create ways for other other organisations to get involved with us, because it's not just about us, it's about people who have solutions and different ways to engage and educate with people. So the Plastic Pledge are one of our partners. And last year we pledged to eradicate single-use plastic water bottles from our team environment, which we successfully achieved, and we set out 5 ways that we would do that. This year our Plastic Pledge is all about kit, and this is another huge issue in sports, and something that actually isn't talked about, because when you look at teams, organisations who have published their carbon footprint or plastic impact or whatever, they don't talk about the kit that they sell, whereas we do. And in sports, it's everywhere. It is, it's not just in sports as well. People now wear sports kit in their own leisure time. They don't have to be playing sports. You often see people walking around the streets in often Ronaldo tops or Manchester United or sometimes Desert Vipers tops. So it's something that is important to address.
I mean, it's a form of fast fashion to a certain degree.
Essentially,
I mean, it's an extremely popular merchandise the world over, and I would presume that a lot of it is made from polyester, and therefore ends up in landfills when people change their support teams. Not that happens very often, but yes, please. I mean, I'm really interested to hear about the kit.
So our pledge with the Plastic Pledge is to eradicate virgin new polyester from our kit manifesto, and we pledge to do that in 5 ways. Firstly, looking at team and performance kit, so the kit that I would wear as part of the management staff and the players, and eradicating new polyester from that. The other is fan kit, which is the majority of the footprint from the plastic footprint from a kit. The third one is about packaging. So how can we think about the way that it comes to you? Often it's single-use polythene, and that's very difficult to recycle. The fourth one is about waste and what we're doing with the kit afterwards, and actually making the kit high performance so that it lasts longer. So it's not just worn for one season or disintegrates when you wash it on 50 degrees by accident. Actually, it lasts for a long time. And the final one is around, if I can remember correctly, is around just reporting on that and making sure that we're working with people to make the right changes, and we transparently say that. So actually, another thing that we're going to release in the next couple of weeks is a plastic impact report. This is the first time, to my knowledge, that a sports organisation in the world will be releasing something like this. And what we've done is quantified our plastic impact. That came off the back of the partnership with Blue Water, because we'd made a huge change and we had reduced our plastic by 14,400 bottles. So we wanted to see, well, as an organisation, what impact has that had overall on our plastic use? And are there other areas we need to address? So we calculated the different components, and kit was 94% of all plastic use. And 99.3% of that kit was virgin polyester. Now, this is the standard for sports. This is the status quo. And for Desert Vipers, we looked at that and thought, this isn't right, we want to change it. So this year, we're doing a huge amount with kit. Firstly, we've reduced by 30%. So we're not ordering things anymore. And that's due to things like, I don't know if this will pick up on the camera, but this bag last year had my name on it here. Ben. Now, if I were to leave the organisation or any other reason, nobody else in the organisation could use this kit. Now, if for whatever reason I'm not in the UAE or I'm not with the organisation, we can still reuse it. It also had a sponsor on it. Now, for different sponsors that can be important, but for some sponsors, actually, they're not interested in smaller items like this. They're all about being on the kit or in different positions. So we've now looked at each item categorically and said, does this need to be personalised? Yes or no. Does it need a sponsor? Yes or no. And by doing that and reusing kit for multiple seasons, we've reduced by 30%, which is the first thing you need to do: reduce, reuse, recycle. So that's the first thing. But the most exciting thing is our partnership with PalmFit, who are a UAE-based sports apparel organisation. And I'm wearing a Palm Fit top now. This is the team polo. And Palm Fit use recycled materials in their range for us. And we have managed to make everything out of that. So we're reducing our footprint from kit by 51% by changing the materials. It's being made in the UAE, in Ajman, so that's another 8%
keeping
saving.
It local, yeah,
keeping it local as well, which is a huge thing because actually it's supporting the local economy. It's providing jobs. It's not just better material, but it's better for everybody here in the UAE. And also we are providing this as an option for other sports teams. So anyone from grassroots to professional, schools, anybody can purchase this material from what's called the Viper line, and they can have the savings themselves. So it's not just about what we do, it's about how can we help others on their journey and make a big change to the wider industry as well.
Absolutely. I mean, you're leading by example
yes.
at the moment in what it is very surprisingly an untapped area. It seems, I'm sure that sustainability is going to start growing in the sports industry. It has to. But the figures that you've been telling me about, the kit and the percentage of carbon footprint that brings, and, it's staggering. So with Palm Fit, did you say that they use recycled textiles? So it's recycled clothes, basically, or recycled fabrics?
Most sports kit is polyester, so it's recycled polyester.
Right.
There's a few items that we're ordering which will be recycled cotton.
Okay.
So there's a few different things.
Okay.
But it's mainly polyester.
Yeah. Okay. It's not made from palm leaves or that's
that would be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite an exciting thing. So we have a 3-year partnership with them. So there's a possibility to explore things like that. Obviously, when we're talking about sports clothing, there's always the performance element,
of course,
which is important to consider. But if I'm not playing on the pitch, so if I were to dress up in used palm leaves or whatever, then it would be quite a funny image. But absolutely, I'd be open to anything. So
I've got images of you stood with palm leaves on the back line.
Well, there's always So there's 2 or 3 elements really. There's the fans, and we want fans to have good quality clothing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be the same high performance as as the players, and usually the high performance comes with additional cost. But and then you've got the players, and then you've got the backroom staff, the people whose performance, it doesn't matter so much about the clothing that they wear.
Yeah, and obviously, just to clarify that I am aware that leaves, etc., can be turned into fabrics now. I wasn't meaning that you should dress up in actual leaves. Yeah. So going back to sports as a whole, which you've just touched upon a moment ago, what are you trying to do in the actual arenas or in the actual sports venues themselves? Because obviously there's lots of drinks and takeaway food and plastic bottles, and how can and lots of transport to the venue. How are you trying to reduce that?
There's a few things that we're doing, but firstly, I think it's important to caveat that as a franchise, I talked earlier around having different levels of control and governing bodies having lots of control over franchises. Actually, as a franchise, we don't own the stadium. So where we play our home matches, we're a little bit at the mercy of what they at the stadium are doing and would like to do. Now, we're a consumer of the stadium, or we're a customer, sorry. So we have some say in doing things, and that's where the sustainability match comes in, because what we're trying to do is trial things. And I say trial because in my mind I'm always thinking about it being successful. So I'm not trying to think of it as a one-off event. I'm trying to think of it as something to show that this is possible and let's do it next season. I'll give you an example of that. So last year for our sustainability match, we put plastic recycling bins in the Dubai International Stadium for the first time ever. This is the biggest, or the Middle East's premier cricket facility, and they didn't have recycling bins for fans to use until February 2024. Now, I said that was a trial, and the management team at the stadium, the operatives, found it really easy to use, as I intended it to be. And so those bins were kept in for the remainder of the season. They've just hosted the Women's World Cup. and the bins were in there for that as well. And next season, they're going to be in all 3 venues for all matches.
Excellent.
So that's one example where we're trying to help them, and it's very much about being supportive as well. It's not just about complaining and saying, oh, they're not doing things that we want. It's actually saying, okay, here's what you could be doing, and we will be willing to help you on that journey. So the sustainability match for next season, I'm trying to draft up some ideas. If you have any suggestions for anything you want to see in the stadium, then let me know, and we can try and work some stuff out. But that's what we're trying to do for the sustainability match, and in general, just reporting on it, saying this is the carbon footprint, these are the different sources. The biggest area to address at the moment is probably the diesel for the generators. So all the floodlights are run by generators, and that is the bulk of the electricity usage. So actually, just knowing that, we can now provide solutions and help. So it's very much a long-term goal, but we're willing to help with them, and where they're not quite doing what we want, then we're willing to kind of work out a way for that to become a reality.
So yes, I mean, it's all about collaboration. It's not about, shaking your finger at somebody saying you're doing all this wrong.
Yeah.
It's actually like, here are some tools to improve things, and we can do this as collaboratively as possible. So just in, wrapping up, so we've not got long left. Shall we talk about the sport itself?
Absolutely.
Perhaps have a little chat about Desert Vipers, about the team, about what the forecast is for the next few years. I'll hand that over to you.
Yeah, so we've got quite an exciting season coming up. In our first season, we were runners-up, which was a great achievement in the first year of a franchise. Last year, we didn't quite do so well. We finished 5th out of 6 teams. And this year, we are looking to go again and really challenge, because we've got a fantastic set of players this year. I won't name them all because there's so many great players. And also, it's just been announced on the Instagram for Desert Vipers and the DP World ILT20. We've got a great selection of players, but I think our key players this year, we've got Mohamed Amir, who is a fan favourite. He's from Pakistan, and he's a fantastic bowler. Always seems to get a wicket in the first couple of overs. And then we've got Alex Hales, who is one of our batters. He usually opens. I'm not on tactics, so I can't say what we're going to do this year in terms of who's bowling, who's batting, what order, anything like that. But we've got some great players, and I think actually from a sustainability point of view, incorporating players into that messaging and that potential really can influence fans in a way that shifts them in a huge way that others can't. So we've got a few players. One of our players, Nathan Sauter, he expressed some interest last year in sustainability and what we were doing, and I think it's just fantastic to be able to speak to them on a one-to-one level around the team hotel, show them about the benefits of why they're now using refillable water bottles, which has performance benefits because it stays cool, but also environmental sustainability benefits. So actually, from a team point of view, it's not just the management staff, it's actually the coaches, the players, how can we get involved? And it's all working together as one collective unit. So we're very excited for the season. We are hopeful that we're going to do well, and we're putting in the right structures and things in place so that we can do that. But at the end of the day, it's always up to the players, and if we can do the best we can as management, then that's what we're looking for.
I mean, a few of the names that you mentioned there are even names that even I've heard of from back in my news reading days. But it takes us full circle to what we were talking about right at the beginning, which is the influence some of these players can have on their enormous fan bases. And when you start to give them the tools to understand why you're implementing these sustainability approaches to the team, then that just rides on a wave, hopefully. Anyway, so my closing question would be to you: what do you imagine, or what would you hope to happen in the sports arena in the next 5 years, let's say, with sustainability in mind?
I think we have to start thinking about sustainability in a different way. Often it's considered something like an additional burden on businesses, and actually it can be used in a really positive way. So at Desert Vipers, we've created ways for people to get involved with us, and these are adding to our traditional ways of partnership, whereas it's usually just put a logo on a jersey. Now we're actually looking for people who can provide solutions to help us in our own mission. So there's one way that organisations can get involved, and that's through providing the solutions. The other opportunity is through thinking about it in what I would call an attacking sense, as I said before, thinking about utilising the enormous power and influence that sports organisations and athletes have over fans, and helping them to accelerate the sustainability transition in a way that's just and fair and really rapid for the whole of society. So it's got a huge potential, and it now needs to realise that.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ben. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, I think I've covered everything.
Yeah.
I would just like to say that, we've got tickets coming out soon for the next season. We would love to have a full stadium again, get as many fans in as possible to see what we're doing, not just from a sustainability perspective, but of course watch our cricket team hopefully go all the way. So anybody who wants to get tickets, then please do. And also anybody who wants to get in contact with our sustainability journey, then please email sustainability@thedesertvipers.com, and we would love to hear from you and hear your thoughts.
Perfect. It's always good to get the community involved because
Exactly.
they bring lots of fresh ideas to the table. Yeah. Thank you so much, Ben. It's been an absolute pleasure having you here today, and we look forward to seeing you winning the tournament.
Hopefully, yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.